My name is host Eric. Beautiful and terrible. That describes life, you know. Even no matter how perfect your life is, how how good you have it. No matter how good you have it is a better way to put it. You'll experience life as both beautiful and terrible. Kind of no matter what. You know, even a lack of feeling anything is terrible. You know? So kind of everything's beautiful or terrible. You might say, well, what about things that are meh? There are some meh things too. I guess it's not just beautiful and terrible. But I just watched the most moving YouTube video. Crying so much. This sweatshirt is super cool. I like it a lot. I gotta go to the dentist this morning. I shell out $4,500 for some teeth in the lower left. Then my bottom mouth will be all complete teeth. That'll be nice. But of course, I won't be able to use those bottom teeth until I get the top ones. This is trouble. He's eating some food right now. He likes me to watch him eat because I don't know why. But he'll just keep meowing at me so I come watch him eat. I like to comb him in the process because he sheds a lot, and this helps prevent some of the hair that gets all around the house. And some of it, I mean, we still have just shit tons of cat hair to clean up all the time. It's really annoying. It's kind of like the worst cat that you could possibly have. But that's okay. I did really well with one of my shorts. That was nice. I got like 25,000 views or something for this short where there's this massive piece of equipment and on this train, near this train, there's a massive piece of train equipment. And I said, at the time of the video, you'll be shocked what this is for, or what this is actually for, something like that. And even though it was clearly not this, I said it was a bowling ball holder. You just put two bowling balls there and just roll the thing down the bowling alley. It did very well. I was surprised. Oh, kitty. You're so cray. Yes, you're my kitty kitty wonder pants. You need a lot of combing. Yes, you do. This cat, I tell you, just endless cat hair on this cat. I just want to shave him. Shave him bald so I don't have to clean up his hair all the time. He probably doesn't want to be shaved bald. And the weather is changing. It's getting colder, so even if I were to shave him, I'd have to do it at the beginning of summer. It'd look funny, I bet, if I shaved him. He'd look like a very well-groomed cat. Got a couple of chores I need to do this morning before Beautiful and terrible, like a mango. Hi, Winston's mom. Hi, No Sage. That's life. That's how you can describe life. Beautiful and terrible. I'm not experiencing terrible things. You know, and my point that I already said earlier when there was nobody here is that life's beautiful and terrible no matter what your circumstances and situation. Like, no matter how good you have it, I have it as good as you could hope for, really. And life still manages to split into beautiful and terrible because it's like everything in life is meaningful. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? It looks good. I was looking at myself in the camera earlier and saying, you're looking pretty swag with that cool A sweatshirt on. Noise. Let me see if I can make this more symmetrical there. I look like I got a hat on underneath the hoodie. So, I'm making coffee right now. That's what I'm doing. I gotta go to the dentist this morning. And obviously, I'm not really looking forward to that. But there is something that I'm kind of looking forward to regarding the dentist, which is my neighbor knows the dentist, has played music with him before. And so I'm going to say to the dentist, you know, I was talking with my neighbor about you the other night. You know him. He told me you play the violin. He also told me some other stuff that I won't mention to this dentist. And he told me the dentist didn't want to be a dentist, but his dad kind of made him be a dentist. I'm not going to mention that to the dentist, though. Alright. If I just have this one huge scoop, that should be enough coffee. Maybe a little bit more. There. Alright. I'm going to put that just like a dim sum. I only use paper towels for making coffee because coffee filters just don't work as well. They let little bits of grains get into the get into the coffee. So I like to use paper towels instead. This is the guy I want to be my vice presidential candidate. If I could run for president, or I'd be happy to be his vice presidential candidate too. Although I really think I should be president, but just look at this, okay? Just look at what he's saying here. So he's talking about Daniel Inouye, former state senator of Hawaii, war hero.
Realize that I've just glorified a politician, and that's inevitably going to rub somebody the wrong way for some reason. And to be honest, I've intentionally avoided looking at his political career while researching for this video. I genuinely have no idea right now whether that man was a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, something in between. I have no idea. But here's what I do know. Regardless of what his politics were, I have the utmost confidence that that's the type of dude that I want in a leadership position, because at the end of the day, I have absolute confidence that he wants what's best for the country and not what's best for his party, which is extremely hard to find in a politician. So yeah.
I mean, I heard that and it made me cry because it's like, exactly. This is why I want him as my vice presidential candidate. He understands. It's like I've never heard him say anything wrong or suggesting that he's not correct about stuff. And that includes his passionate hatred of groupism. He's exactly the right man. So, maybe since I used a bit of his video, he'll get you want to copyright this guy thing, and maybe he'll actually see it. But he's got 2 million subs, so obviously it's gonna be hard for me to make him notice me. Not if it's me and that guy. Not if it's me and that guy. Other people may be guilty, you're right, of constantly trying to use this group as heuristic, but that's not the same thing as saying that a statesman or a couple of statesmen can't transcend it. Whether the voting population is willing to follow is another question. But to say that me or that guy as an individual can't transcend groupism, can't despise it and be above it, is insane. So, there you go. In case you're wondering, that's what a leader sounds like, what I just said. I'm not concerned with playing problem admiration. Like, oh, but what about this problem? What about this problem? I'm concerned with actually saying, I'm the solution. I love the Fallout games. They're so interesting. Okay, but no. I'm fine with grouping with as an American. I'm grouping with Americans and America. That's what I'm grouping with. My point is that we, as a single team, America, need to remember that we are a single team and act like it. We have differences within the groups, but we have to prioritize the group as a whole over any subgroup. And when I say groupism, what I mean is that guy's not racist, sexist. He's an individualist. He believes in America and the individuals who comprise the country, And he finds the existing political discourse toxic, as do I. Why? Because of the way that parties have utilized the wedge issue strategy to inflame the base and destroy America. So, that I can claim to be a solution to groupist bullshit within the American political system, and is perfectly reasonable thing to say. I get it. Every time I explain, we know what the problem is. Here's the solution. People want to say, but there are so many problems. How can you possibly provide any meaningful solution? There's so many barriers to solvency. The only barrier to solvency is problem admiration. And that's what you're doing. Problem admiration and wrongness are the enemies that we must attack. Look, I'm not saying don't don't allow groups to exist. I'm saying don't be groupist, which is to say, remember that every individual is an individual, first and foremost. And that whatever you think you know about their group, you cannot confer identity meaning onto them accordingly without conducting ontological colonialization. So, I mean, look, don't equivocate on the word groupist. Just because groups exist doesn't mean that you are being groupist. Groupist is a better term than racist, sexist, whatever, or partyist, because they're all the same problem in different clothes, right? It's always the same problem, which is I'm going to create a boogeyman that I can blame for things in my problem admiration rather than embrace a straight thinking, straight talking, correct person like Eric. So that needs to change. That needs to change. I'm here to change it. I mean, I'm doing my best. Well, I'm not doing my best, but I'm doing something. I'm being correct. I'm correcting this. Right now I'm doing something. It's just like the word relevant. When people say, oh, relevancy is exclusionary because what's relevant to me might not be relevant to you. Things aren't relevant to people. Things are important to people, of interest to people. Things are relevant to questions and answers, which is fundamentally the core of all discourse that's designed to understand things rather than calls to action or expressing oneself. So, yeah, that's the biggest first barrier for me to attack and address is first and foremost, if you're just going to tell me all the reasons why there's no way to save anything and we're all doomed, then just, I don't even want to hear it. Because the answer to that is yeah, if you insist on not trying, not believing in the possibility of being better, then you will never get to be better. If you refuse to believe in the possibility enough to embrace the solution. Sometimes you got to take a spiritual gamble, take the risk of being idealistic and fighting for what's right. Otherwise, you're just kind of betraying not just like your nation, but yourself, humanity, your own humanity. It's like, don't lock yourself in a box that you don't need to, that you make yourself and don't need to lock yourself into. But I get it, it's prime directive stuff. If you map out nothing good is going to happen, and you do nothing to make anything good happen, and nothing good happens, then your map and your expectations and realities match up perfectly. And that's what humans really want, more than anything else. A scapegoat, a boogeyman, black sheep, goes to inclusion. Not everyone is inclusive. That trait is measured in moral foundation theory. I mean, okay. Inclusion isn't a moral issue. We're talking about things that are basically epistemological issues. People are knowing and determining wrong. Creating imaginary boogeymen isn't a moral issue because it doesn't violate any rights. If somebody violates rights, then it's the rights violation that's a moral issue, not the not the underlying worldview. But it's again understandable that people are wrong about this kind of stuff because they don't have the metaframe of cognitive functions to understand things through. This is beautiful and terrible, right? It's like, what is beautiful and terrible? Being correct. And if you're an extreme outlier in correctness, definitionally it means everybody else is less correct than you. And that doesn't change the reality of consensus, which is there's broad consensus about lots of things. That where that consensus is looked to instead of the merits of the thing. So consensus about typology among smart people is like pseudoscience. Consensus about evolution among smart people is that it's correct. So obviously it's going to be very hard to be correct. I mean, not very hard to be correct, to be heard. For the correctness to be heard, understood, adopted. People use heuristics rather than evaluating things on their merits because they aren't equipped to evaluate things on their merits. Like, there's plenty of things that I'm not equipped to evaluate on their merits. I have to use heuristics. Like, if somebody tells me this new kind of nuclear power facility is clean nuclear, that they just continually reuse the fusible material until it has no radioactivity left. So I just have to assume the experts aren't lying because I'm not going to be able to evaluate the claims on their merits unless they're explained more simply than. I mean, maybe I could evaluate them. Depends. I've looked into those things before. I understood the explanations well enough, I guess. Where do you draw the line between groups working together for political action in an acceptable way and a party that is some kind of unacceptable group you malign? I'm not maligning anything, okay? I'm saying here's how individuals should talk about politics. I'm not interested in even maligning the parties, right? I'm saying we may end up splitting into parties, but this is how individuals should be talking about political matters. I'm not interested in plain problem admiration. So you're not going to hear from me anything about, like, it's that damn woke agenda, or it's those backwards gun loving conservatives. That's the problem. I'm not going to be talking about wedge issues that aren't even relevant, such as gun control or abortion, and they aren't relevant because the matters are fully decided. Courts have been clear on the matter, and neither of them are fundamentally a federal issue anymore. There might be small changes you can make in gun control matters on the margins, but the courts have been clear about the individual right to own a firearm, and And exactly how much capacity a magazine should be allowed to have and stuff is just quibbling on the margins. It's the only reason anybody would talk about it is because it's divisive, and it signals to people that you're on their team. Well, fuck your team. I'm on Team America, and you should be too because you're an American. That's my message. I might run as a Republican, Democrat. I don't even know. Doesn't matter because I'm not here to represent the party. I'm not here to represent a the style of politics that involves boogeyman hating. I'm here to save America. No, it is not the case that everybody sensible. Okay, everybody sensible agrees with that. The thing is, sure, it takes cooperation to bring about political action once you're governing. What I'm asking people to do when I start running for president officially, and I'm getting my teeth fixed, that's step one in the process. I got to go in there today, um, is to do something very simple. Vote for me. Once I'm elected, then I will manage to engage in the political process correctly. And, you know, I've already explained one of the mechanisms I'm going to use to help is the Justice Department. I'm going to constrain the power of the president by having, like, signing some ridiculous presidential order and then having the Justice Department challenge it in court and, you know, have the Justice Department citing against the president in that context and have the courts codify some restraints for presidential power. No kings was a perfectly good protest thing. Everybody should agree with that. No kings. I mean, I'm not concerned about cooperation being bad in some forms. I'm saying that individuals using rhetoric that is designed to give some sort of dopamine hit to people who like to admire problems is not going to come out of my mouth, and I'm going to condemn it whenever I hear it. And that this is, it's like in the incredibly vapid and horrible cesspool that has been politics for the last who knows how long, this clear message, this clear and simple message, should resonate with people. I want to represent all of Americans, not just the ones who vote for me, not just this party or that party or this side of the culture war or that side of the culture war. The culture war can go fuck itself. Like, you know, people getting all upset about trans people. What in the world are they thinking? Who the fuck cares? It's not significant at all. It's only a culture war flashpoint. That's all it is. A way to inflame people so that they're no longer thinking about being, you know, having a civil democratic process. Well, you should be if you're an American for America, because the Constitution is very clear about attempting to limit the power of government such that the liberty of the people and the individuals is preserved. You might be in favor of monarchy for some other place. That's fine. I don't care about that. Maybe monarchy would be better than some other place's government. But I don't feel like being a subject. I'd rather be a citizen. Thank you very much. This is our citizen democracy. Let's act like it. How about that for a fucking campaign message? This is our citizen democracy. Let's act like it. I mean, things aren't against the Constitution. The Constitution allows or prohibits certain things, right? Empowers. It enumerates certain powers. It provides jurisdictional guidelines for the three branches of government. And it protects the rights of individuals and of the states. No, Congress could not. It would well, it would require constitutional amendments, multiple, and I don't think that's going to happen. There hasn't been a successful constitutional amendment in many decades. So, the beautiful thing about democracy is it continues because of its habits and institutions, because of its transparency, because of its accountability forums, especially courts. And because it thrives under the fundamental principle of equality under the law. Everybody has the law applied to them equally. A king is above the law. That's why no kings. Nobody should be above the law. And as we've seen, in America, fortunately, nobody is above the law. Even though it was ill-advised and so forth, people did successfully prosecute Trump for some sort of crime. I don't know if they successfully prosecuted, but they prosecuted him for some sort of crime. He had to go to court and blah, 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 right? It was horrible and politically motivated, but it happened. So, ultimately, what we need is a patriotic American citizen statesman, and that's me. Hi, G. Well, what a government is determined by how it's structured, right? You have to imagine not just the government in a snapshot moment of time, but a government as a contiguous procession of. It's like a assemblage of bureaus, departments, uh, elected officials, etc., that both remains the same and somewhat changes over time, you know? So it's like some aspects of it, it's like precedent in general. People don't understand the government at all. It's a shame. We really ought to do a better job of educating people in civics if we're going to be doing education. But, whatever. That's, the barrier that I encounter most frequently is just yeah butting, right? I'll say, here's a synopsis of the problem, here's the solution. People will say, yeah, but. I had this happen a lot with my second wife. She was a problem admirer. She, she wanted to complain about something, and I'd say, well, okay, here's the solution. Yeah, but, and she'd come up with some other possible thing that would interfere with my solution. I'd say, or some quibble with it is not a perfect solution. I'd say, okay, well, what about this? Yeah, but it's like, okay, let's just stop with the yeah butting, right? Right. I'm not making claims for other places, no Sage. I'm not saying we should impose the American Constitution on the world, that it's the greatest thing in history or anything like that. I'm just saying, as an American, I understand that we first and foremost operate with the Constitution as the top frame of law. And we need to remember that. And it's done a good job so far of both protecting us and evolving with the times. That kind of evolution is a real thing, but we don't want to mistake um, the need for it to be a living document as just a mea culpa for interpreting it willy nilly. We should interpret it to mean what it means, not some other things. And yeah, I'm not. I the America. I'm dealing with America as it is in the moment, with the status quo and its history and all those other things. So I'm not trying to make claims for other countries. I have a difficult enough time getting people to understand what's best for this country. Okay, fair enough, No Sage. You win that point. You were just saying philosophically you think this. You're not saying that it applies to America specifically or anything else specifically. I got you. Fair enough. You win the point. You are not guilty of discourse crime. A. Congratulations. Is that what he's doing? Is he holding down the fort? I mean, it doesn't feel like he's holding things down so much as throwing things up. Flip the script. Now, would you assume that the Bible is given to a group of alien people would implement it, and would you expect it to turn out well? Well, Winston's mom, are you suggesting that aliens aren't already Christian? Because, as far as I know, aliens with their advanced technology are definitely Christian. David Mitchell went on a rant about Americans saying holding down the fort instead of holding the fort. Isn't the expression holding down the fort? I've never heard holding the fort before. That would sound strange, like you're holding a fort in your hand. Must be a British thing. I've never heard anybody say holding the fort. I mean, I get it in like a military context. Don't don't be overrun by attackers. Well, listen, here in America, we raise roofs and we hold down forts. Neither of them make a lot of sense, but it's just how we roll. I'm raising the roof, y'all, and I'm holding down the fort. Yeah, I've never heard holding the fort either. That's I mean, except like in watching military videos or something. Even then, I can't recall any specific instances of hearing it, but I'm assuming I probably have. I've been watching and do watch a fair amount of these uh, military videos talking about how this guy won a Bronze Star, or not won, but earned a Bronze Star. What did they say? Was awarded a Bronze Star? I'm not exactly sure what the language to use there is. I don't want to be disrespectful at all. Batten down the hatches. You batten down the hatches. You don't batten the hatches. AI overview. Hold the fort, stay in position, and keep it safe or secure. Hold down the fort, an American variation. Is the same true with hatches? Do some people say batten the hatches? I always say batten down the hatches. Not that I say that very much, but if I were to say it, my mom used to say that. So she always said batten down the hatches. I never heard batten the hatches. Now, another equivalent is hunker. Can you just hunker, or do you have to hunker down? Hard a port? What does that mean? Turn to the which one's left and which one's right? Is port left and right starboard? I don't know. Why don't they just use left and right? Why don't they just use miles per hour instead of knots? Why don't they just use, I don't know, yards instead of furlongs? Because people are facing different directions on the ship. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, good. Good. Now I have a good answer to that. So, which side is starboard, left or right? What's the front? Fore and aft. Okay, so the front is fore and the back is aft. I think the left is port and the right is starboard. Right when facing the front? Okay, yeah. So starboard is to the right when facing the front, and port is to the left when facing the front. Fore is the front, and aft is the back. The hull is the main part. The keel is the part that goes underneath the water. And I think we all know what the deck is. And the plank. If you're on a boat and you're ordered to walk the plank, you're in trouble. You better watch out, because you're about to go swimming and land is far away. The keel is the thing that runs down the middle of the hull. Rain says, why do I never see stock issues presented in an ordered way? Don't you have to talk about harms before you can begin to talk about solvency, or similarly harms before inherency and before significance? I think you should talk about inherency first, because you can talk about a problem existing without articulating measurable harms. Like, some problems that you might articulate have harms implicit in them, I guess, like voter fraud. If there is voter fraud or rigged elections, you need to talk about inherency. I guess it doesn't really matter the order. You can talk about harms first. I always talked about inherency first, but why don't you ever hear it? Because people don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's why. Like, if you're opposing the death penalty, you don't especially need to articulate harms first, because ultimately you're going to be probably doing, well, I mean, you are going to be arguing plenty of impacts. Yeah, maybe you're right, Rand. Maybe you should talk about harms first. But I'm okay with it if people talk about inherency first. Because, like, look, if you're talking about Like, let's say somebody has an advocacy. I want to get my little sister's legs lengthened so she's tall enough to ride the ride. Well, you need to do inherency first, because the first obvious question is, well, won't she grow? Inherency. Unfortunately, my sister is stricken with permanent small child syndrome. So she'll never get to ride this ride if we don't do this operation. Now let's talk about the harms. She's devastated. She is sobbing day in, day out, 24 hours a day, because she cannot ride this ride and has been for months. We've seen no change happening. You know. Um, those are harms in the status quo. But obviously, let me address the cost as well. It is an expensive operation, and it does involve risk of death. The keel is actually an unholy combination of key and peel. When you're not listing, even keel when you're not listing. Oh, right, listing in boats means going to one side or the other. And if you want to prevent your boat from listing, you need to make sure that your boat is yar. Also to be considered is the problem would solve itself, but not fast enough. Right, well, then you need to give some tipping point argument. Like, now is the tipping point, we must act now or else it'll be too late. Because otherwise, what's the urgency, you know? So I was listening to my video that I made the other day about relevance, and I was struck by how annoying it was that the pace at which I was speaking. And the reason I was speaking at that pace is because I was doing the whole thing without any notes or anything, and I wanted to make sure I covered everything and said everything correctly. And also, I was just in a slow mood. And it just kind of drove home the point that if I'm going to make a video at all and upload it, I really ought to at least take the time to write some notes and improve the quality of the thing for a viewer. Although, when you're too slow in your delivery, that's an easy enough problem for people to solve if they wanted by just turning up the speed of the video. The first time I watched it at regular speed. I watched it the second time, or most of it the second time. And when I did that, I had to watch it at 3 times speed. It was annoying how choppy it was. I've already watched you eat. Come on, dude. I have to take the trash out. Today's trash day. So I do have some chores I need to do here this morning. But for anybody who's late arrival, what do you think? How fresh is this sweatshirt? On a scale of fresh to super fresh, how fresh is this sweatshirt? I love it. I love it. It looks fantastic. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Thank you for the feedback, Winston's mom. Winston's mom says that she thought the pace of it was fine, and that sometimes it goes too fast. Acacia says good morning to Trouble. So she's gonna bother saying good morning. I guess I should show him on the camera. Yes, you're a good boy, McSmudgemoy, and a happy boy, McSmappy boy, and a silly man, McGilligan. You're all of those things and more. So I realized what I should have done with that relevancy video is include that Charlie Kirk guy's name in the title, probably, if I wanted to get a lot of views. I did mention him some when I talked about the lady, but I don't know if people would have gotten all the way there if I put Charlie Kirk in the title, and they probably would have thought, hey, you're not even talking about him. I did end up talking about it a little bit. Acacia says you're doing a great job of eating Trouble. Trouble is gratified, though he's not expressing it right now. You should feel as though your compliment was appreciated. Oh, Kitty, what a special girl. I've got a very special girl here, and her name is Capio. Oh, yes. Yes, Daddy knows. Oh, Daddy knows and Daddy loves. Yes. What a good kitty. What a special friend. What a counter kitty you are. You like to sit on the counter. You were an English teacher back in the day. Yes, I was, Floss Fitness TV. I was an English teacher and then a debate coach. My mom was an English teacher too, so even if I wasn't an English teacher, I would still be like an English teacher because I was an English major in college too. Where, they don't do a good job of actually teaching you English in college. What they really should have done is a serious instruction of grammar in college, because people don't get grammar. They're not adequately taught it in school for college. Uh-oh, we got trouble. We got trouble at the OK Corral. We got trouble at the water trough. But Capia is giving way, so the trouble can go to the water. Well, I'm getting my teeth fixed right now, Rain. That's the first step. It's going to cost a lot of money to do, but I'm getting it done. And I'm in fact going to the dentist today. Got a $4,500 implant thing over here that I'm getting done. And then it's going to take a couple months because these tooth extractions that I already got done need to heal. And then they're going to put implants on these sides. Then they're going to pull out the middle teeth and put implants in, like a bridge thing. Yeah, I was a very good teacher. I think that classroom teaching instruction is not indicated as a good thing, really, inherently. Like, it's only with kids that we have so little regard for their rights that we just make them go all to school whether they want to or not, and make them all take the same kind of things, even though they're differentiated individuals. I'm just not a big believer in traditional classroom instruction anymore. Also, having been a debate coach, it's blazingly obvious how much better a pedagogy that is. Pedagogy? I've never known quite how to pronounce that word. It's like the students in debate learn so much more than students in any class ever learn. For every topic, they're just absorbing shit tons of information. And it's always only the most relevant information because, it's always only information that's instructive on the topic, is what I should say. So it's like they're not getting like whatever the teacher's favorite. Okay, guys, we're gonna read this book and analyze it. It's my favorite. There's none of that in debate because you have to win, If you're good at it all, you want to win. Hi, New Groove. I am 100% with you. I love debate. I don't care about the opinion. I care about the reasoning and purpose, Sup, CIA. Pedagogically, in a manner that relates to teaching or education, right? And a pedagogy is basically an instructional approach. So, like, sentence diagramming is a pedagogy. People use the term to mean much more vague stuff than that, but yeah. Right, like teacher-centered pedagogy, traditional approach, student-centered pedagogy, inquiry-based pedagogy. Yeah, look, you cannot. The worst pedagogy of all is the Socratic method. It doesn't work at all. It's complete waste of time. Classroom discussions, complete waste of time. Do not work to do any good at all. As the debate coach, it's clear and everybody understands if you want your students to win, you need to teach them all of the various things that are relevant here about this topic. You can't just expect them to come up with them by asking questions. It's insane. It's incredibly slow and stupid, even if it were to work. You're the teacher because you know shit tons more than the students. Just tell them what you know. Don't ask them what they don't know. Doesn't that seem obvious? Mr. Samuelson, though it wasn't necessarily always obvious to me. Mr. Samuelson made that clear to me. He hated any kind of discussion, Socratic method stuff, because he understood it was not teaching. It was not getting things accomplished. He insisted that you had demonstrable progress, that you could measure that student was unable to do this kind of thing at the start and is completely able at the end. He needed concrete shit to when I worked for him. He was a great mentor teacher. Experiential pedagogy is fine for certain kinds of things, right? Like there are plenty of things that you need to do it multiple times before in order to learn it. So it probably would have been a good thing for me to learn about pouring concrete and cement and stuff before I just started doing it in my backyard making a pond, right? But no, Sage says, and what do you kids think about Newton's third law? That his mom's gay. That's correct. You got it exactly right. His mom was gay. Now, in our current revisionist history age, everybody was gay. Ready or not, here I come. No Sage is a twerker, a professional twerker. Does professional twerker get good benefits? I'm looking into becoming a professional mime. I'm not sure how many people are hiring a mime right now, but that's the line of work I'd like to go into is miming. I can't believe I got a little thing on my sweatshirt, like a little bit of bong resin. How horrible! How so soon? I just got this sweatshirt. I knew it was gonna get dirty and stuff, but that's what happens when you buy white clothes. Okay, go inside. Cat just likes to make me do things. It doesn't even really matter what it is. He just wants to see me following orders. Eric understands wokeness but won't name it, it seems. I mean, it like the thing is, I'm genuinely making a joke about it, the excesses of wokeness, right? And sure, there are plenty of instances of ridiculous excess in wokeness, but the fundamental principles of more inclusion and more accurate representation of a population that's not monolithic, I heartily approve of. And I should also mention, I'm a big believer in Hamilton casting rules. So it doesn't matter if you're a black woman, you could still play the role of Alexander Hamilton. And the reason I want that is because I want to play the role of the old Negro. Boy, yes, sir, Mr. No Sage, sir. Well, help yourself. See, I do a good job of it. I love a good buttload drop. You get a buttload of money. The thing about a buttload is it really depends on whose butt as to how big that is. And that's why I prefer a crap ton or a fuck ton. Because crap ton and a fuck ton both weigh the same. Namely, a ton. It's just a crap ton is a ton of crap and a fuck ton is a ton of fuck. You obviously need a lot more fuck to make a ton than crap. Crap's quite dense, whereas fuck is rather, it's almost gaseous. It's semi-gaseous. Do we have any of these semi-gaseous things? I think steam is kind of semi-gaseous. No, Eric, steam is totally a gas. Is it though? Is it really though? I'm not so sure. I think it's a semi-gas. I want to find some gold nuggets lying around. Gold is super expensive right now. $3,600, I think, is what we heard the other day. We've been over the buttload conversation before. What do you think are the salient points of the pros and cons of Brexit? Well, I mean, I think it's a debate between national sovereignty and international oversight, right, or cooperation. If you want something more specific than that, I guess I'd have to research it some more. I'm not exactly sure what the constraints of being in the EU, what the impacts of that were on Britain. I know that standardization of certain kinds of like product specifics could have negatively impacted them, but I'm not really sure. Apparently, they took a net economic hit from their exit from the EU, but I'd have to research it more. You have a nice day too, new group. Don't forget to smile. I don't think it was because she was female, but maybe it was. She looked so tiny on the stage next to the male singers. Who did? A female recently played Jesus in the rock opera Jesus Christ Superstar. Adam Lambert played Judas. Appropriately, he's not trustworthy. Cynthia Elvira played Jesus. She can sing. She had a powerful lead voice. She was not a convincing lead. I'm not saying it's a good idea necessarily to always cast a woman as a man. I'm just saying if they're actually the best person auditioning for the role, you should just cast them as that. I'd rather they not do that with gender, probably. Like, just cast men as men and women as women. But there's a history of casting, like, women as Peter Pan and stuff. And people just say, okay, just get used to it. The point is, the main point of this is that I'm a very convincing old-timey Negro. And so I should get that role in a movie. We'll sit you down right here. And they say, oh, Uncle Eric, he gonna tell you a story about the old days, back when we had mules. Round about that time, old Mr. Eric found himself sitting on the back of a cranky old mule. Let's play a good Elsa in the live action. You should play a good Elsa in the live action of Frozen. That wasn't meant as an insult. What wasn't? I didn't see anything that looked like it was. an insult. Well, I mean, one of the worst travesties of wokery and media is what Amazon did to the Wheel of Time series, as I mentioned before. They fucking butchered it. The whole book is structured around men have these powers, women have these powers. They got away, they got rid of that, and it was just a disaster, complete disaster. I mean, I would just sort of, I would have to look into it if I were, say, a decision maker in Britain a lot more carefully. But my general perspective on the matter is, it's ill-advised to forsake your national sovereignty in the name of cooperation. The world is comprises nation states. I just don't trust any other nation. It's like it's hard enough within our own nation to be on the same page for practical matters like shipping apples to someplace. I'd rather it be as isolated an interaction like between the seller and buyer as possible, and have as few things between that as possible. Okay, I'm going to put you guys right here. You're not going to get to see very well because it's still pretty dark out. But you get to see a little bit of me taking the trash up to the street, and that's going to be exciting for you. Okay, I took those 2 trash cans up to the street. That's good. Congratulations, Eric. You did a good job. There's still 1 more trash can to go. But I've got a little more trash to put in that trash can, so I'm not going to take it up quite yet. It's like the new peanut butter coming out and being like, we don't make this with discarded foreskins like some companies do. Here at Foreskin Peanut Butter, we take exception to the new brand of peanut butter with thinly veiled attack. Yes, we make our peanut butter with discarded foreskins, but we use only the finest kosher foreskins. Also, the plural of foreskins is foreskinia. The plural of foreskin, is foreskinia. So get it right. What am I doing in the kitchen? That's right, trash. This trash here is going to get compacted and then put in the last trash can. I cleaned off the trash compactor when I cleaned the bathroom the other day. Look how clean it is. In case you don't know what a trash compactor does, it compacts the trash. It makes it smaller. So that way, we only have once every 2 weeks trash service because we're able to compact our trash. This Monday, today, is that once every 2 weeks. You used to sing poorly, but now you sing like an angel? You know, what a lot of people don't know, angels actually sing very poorly. They do a lot of things well. Singing is not one of them. That is, in fact, the main reason God made humans, because he could not stand the shitty music they were doing. Okay, so the last trash can is out here. Put that in, and then we'll go see if there's more trash to get and compact. Ooh, I just remembered something. I need to move the wash into the dryer right now. This is the second time I've washed this load because I left it in the washing machine overnight. And of course, if you do that, it'll get all mildewy and gross. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. I just did this morning. I started this load again, and here we go. Okay, good. Doesn't smell mildewy or anything. The main part of this load are these microfiber towels I got, because I'm using them to clean the floors, and basically as a replacement for paper towels. So I don't have to use quite as many paper towels, and they're more. It's a better way to do it, you know. There's a little bit of lint on this. Not that much, though. Unless I should take it off, I guess. Lint catcher. Lint catcher, always catching lint. We're not talking about the Catholic kind of lint. We're talking about this kind of lint. Well, that's good enough. I can't seem to get this off very well, so I just let it go like that. Okay. Now let's see what the trash in here looks like. Empty-ish. And the trashes in here are also empty-ish. Well, no, they're not. They're full enough to compact and pick up. There's one. I'll get the other one from over here. Where did it get trash? Here. Okay, let's go put these in the trash compactor. What are they, good and bad angels on your shoulders, man? That's a good question, my friend. I think the good angel, I think the bad angel is named Thunder and the good angel is named Rain. My bad angel seems kind of loud, you know. You know, pitch is one of those things that is kind of like attention. In that, yes, you can improve it somewhat, but by and large, you're born with either perfect pitch, good relative pitch, bad relative pitch, or tone deaf. I was born with good relative pitch, and I still have it. It's probably gotten better with the years of playing music, but you know, when I was a kid and I tried out for the Pasadena Boys Choir, the choir director was obviously very pleased with what he heard because I had great pitch even as a little kid. Actually, I'll just leave this lid here. When I go back to the street, I'll just get all the lids. We don't need to leave the lids on right now because there's little chance of any wildlife getting into it between now and when the garbage comes. I put this light out here. Why isn't it working? Oh, there it goes. It's just slow to start. Okay. This time you get to go with me because I only have one trash can. I got my lids. Of course, my pants are falling down thanks to my high hip syndrome. But, such is life. Okay, now I've done that. I got some ponding done yesterday. I don't know if I'm going to get much done today. It depends how how much I gotta like recover from this dental surgery I'm getting this morning. What is Cochise? It's an Indian. My naughty little dancing angel who sometimes shouts battle when spotting bull. Oh yeah. That's like thunder. I'm almost to the top pool now. Very close to it. I need to get a lot more Portland cement. I need to get more of everything. I need to get. I'll start with, I guess, one bag of Portland cement. I'm trying to take too much stuff in my car at one time because they're heavy, but I guess I'll use the back seat as well as the trunk. And I get one bag of Portland cement, 4 bags of sand, and 1 bag of lime. I have some lime left, but maybe I could do that on a separate trip. Let's take a gander at the girls. They're doing quite well. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Crazy. This is so impressive. I can't believe it. It's how well this came out. Like last year we got a good amount of weed, I guess, but this will last us a year. This is what I need to harvest every year if we're not going to buy weed. If we're going to be able to not buy weed. This one down here is very ready. But not really any hurry, It's like, until this is really ready. Until we start to get near the end of the weed that we've already harvested, there's not really any reason to get harvesting unless I'm afraid of it getting stolen or something. Which I'm not really afraid of that. Get this leaf picked off. You can pick off the yellowing leaves. I don't know if the plant really cares either way, but supposedly it's a good idea because then the plant stops giving any resources to that leaf. But if it's yellowing, it probably already stopped. So that'd be an old weed growing wives' tale. But it probably does make sense to start to pick off some of the big sun leaves when they're blocking buds from getting sunlight. These ones come right off, so it's like they're about to come off anyway, probably. Okay, good. Exciting. Exciting stuff. I have quite the harvest. I have quite a lot of manicuring to do. But we got good tools for it. I got a couple of these little scissors. They seem to be made specifically for that purpose. I'm not sure if they are, but they're such good little snippers. Might get another couple pairs too because, oh shit. God damn it. God damn this TV. When the TV goes to sleep, sometimes, but not always, it decides to play audio. And then it plays it at the TV volume level. I tend to adjust the volume on the computer, you know? So it's super annoying. Cochise was born in 1810 and rose power in 1850s, made his home in the Chiricahua and Dragoon Mountains. Apaches were known as horrific raiders, torturers, and killers. Don't respect them. Okay. The EU policy restricts the UK's ability to negotiate bilateral trade deals and impose uniform regulations across diverse sectors, but surely there is no significance here unless any specific counterfactual regulation proposals are made and analyzed to see if they're any better than the current arrangement. Yeah, I mean, well, I think what you'd have to see is a reduction in overall exports and make the linkage between that and Brexit. If you were going to try to argue that Brexit was a bad idea, rather than, since now it's already been done, you're not arguing whether it ought to be. Okay, we've got trash bag number 1. Well, I want to tell you something, No Sage. You're talking shit about my high school mascot. Okay, I went to Arcadia High School and we were the Apaches. So sure. It's true we did a little raiding and torturing and stuff. But that's just what Apaches, that's just how we roll, dog. That's just how we roll. I wrote for the high school newspaper. I appeared on the high school news program one time. I'm a real Apache. Some people say maybe the greatest Apache ever. It's between me and Cochise. Trash bag. And trash bag. There's at least one team in LA that's still called the Conquistadors. Okay, so you're saying they got a lot of new immigrants after Brexit, or that a lot of people immigrated out? You spelled it immigrated in, but I just want to verify. So they said one of the harms in the status quo is too many immigrants coming into Britain, and then after Brexit, immigration increased. But I don't think immigration is a harm. You have to do more work to establish that immigration is a harm. You would name a cheese company Cochise Cheese Co. That I would too. No, say that. Who could blame you? Nobody can blame you for that. Okay. Well, it's too early to do the outside work that I'm inclined to do. One of the most important outside works I'm inclined to do is to take my shop vac, which is outside, and blow off the outside stepping stones, which are covered in these fallings from the tree that get stuck in the bottom of my shoes. Right. Okay. Well, so then the advocates who were predicting decreased immigration were wrong, and they got the opposite impacts. But I guarantee you, they just continue to think they were right. Because that's how people are, unfortunately. Just like people are still convinced that all that COVID nonsense saved millions of lives. It was a good idea. Just like people are still convinced there was a COVID vaccine, even though it was not a vaccine, because vaccines prevent people from getting the disease. But there's still plenty of people who'll be like, oh, you oppose the COVID lockdown? You monster. You must be one of those anti-vaxxers. No, I'm totally pro-vaccine. I think vaccines are great. Too bad we didn't have one for COVID. Yeah, those kind of unintended impacts happen a lot. Message articulates that when people expect there to be a future hindrance to immigration, tons of immigrants kind of go on a mad dash to get into the place. That's certainly possible. Plausible, makes sense, you know. It's like, one of the things that I think was good about Brexit, um, just emotionally or something, was that Britain went back to just having. Maybe they always kept their currency. I'm not sure, but regardless, I like the pound sterling just for emotional reasons. I don't euros or whatever. It used to be that you had all these different kinds of money in Europe, like liras, Deutschmarks, francs, pounds. That was kind of nice, kind of cool. But I get it, all the Western countries figure why don't we pretend to be like the U.S. and have one currency? But the problem is they're not one national sovereignty, so it doesn't quite work as well. Or maybe it works fine, but I'm saying it doesn't. It's not the equivalent at all. Should I clean the floors? It's 6:14. I want to leave for the dentist about 8 a.m. because I want to get there early and pay before, just because I feel a little unsure. I mean, the money's in my account to pay for it, but I don't normally use my debit card to make $4,500 purchases, so I just want to make sure there's not any problem when it goes through. And so if there is, I have time to call the bank. Put a little hot water in here from the laundry room sink. And then I'm going to come into here. Turn on this light. And this light. And this light. And light, and this light, and those lights. That's a lot of lights. Want to go outside trouble? Okay. So floors I need to do include the floor in here, the bathroom, the hallway, and the dining room. I'm going to take this rug and shake it outside, and then I'll put it on the stairs. I'm going to take these shoes and put them outside. Alright, now this floor is ready to be done. I need to take a couple things out of the bathroom. Well, that's a good observation, Rain. Rain says that it's generally perceived now as a bad idea, with 1/3 of the people who supported it changing their minds. And he's right, people don't like to change their minds. So, I guess I was wrong about everybody still being convinced about it or whatever. So, just to do due diligence and make note of that reality. Okay, so let's see how I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to change my approach up here a bit. So, let me wipe up this wet spot first. Okay. Oh, that's not trash. Damn it. This is trash. It's so much better since I fixed the fucking curtains on this door finally after living here for years. Let me put these things outside. These I'm going to need for the porch. Now, let's do this. Does this work? Let's find out. Can I put the chairs up there? I've never tried it before. Will they fit? This horrible cat. My Horrible Cat. That's the title of the book I want to read. All about how horrible my cat is. I don't know where to put this now, but I'm trashing it. Alright, I'm going to bring this kitchen trash can in here. Let's put it right here. Okay, so I can fit all of that on the chair on the table. And the last chair I'm going to put outside. I got 2 more chairs to carry out. These ones with the big seats on them. know if I've really ever thought about it before, but these chairs here that I'm moving at right now, these are great guitar chairs. They don't have any arms, they spin around. We've got a foot thing you put your feet on, so you don't have to feet aren't on the ground. Okay. Now we're gonna need to do a little sweeping in here before we do any mopping. An Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman walk into a bar, but the Englishman wanted to leave, so everybody had to. That's a Brexit joke. I don't know. Most days I don't even eat Brexit. Trash is right there. Okay. Broom. Let's get. You know what? Let me get the vacuum instead, I think. Well, I do need to get the cat hair out with the broom. Let me get the broom. Now, I swept the other day when I did the kitchen floor, but I didn't finish the floor, so now I have to sweep these floors again. I'm doing a better job this time. I'm going to the rug out. Let me put this down. Here's a pro tip. Don't try to sweep with one hand while holding the dustpan. Just put the dustpan down and sweep with two hands. Well, that's a big spider. I don't know what kind of spider it is. I guess I'll try to get you to go outside rather than kill you. Turn into a goddamn Hindu, I tell you. Come on, spider. Go up there. Okay, now the spider's outside. So, I'm going to give you another pro tip now. Bring a trash can with you. And then you can frequently put your sweepings into the can and you don't have to make a big stuff, you know. Okay. Put this down right here. Sweep, sweep, sweep. I'm going to sweep our little hearts out. Okay. We swept up a pile here. Now we're going to dustpan. Okay. Now let's go sweep where we really need to sweep, which is the dining room. You see the light's not great in here, especially with the chairs on the table, but should be good enough. Let me do this with this. But do the same with this. There. All right. Now where did I put the broom? Here. Okay. Got a lot of cat hair here. Get this cat hair and put it in the trash. This is where most needs to be cleaned. Get out of there. More cat hair. Not so bad this time. All right. Okay, put these here. Now we're going to sweep up this pot. Put it in the trash. All right. Now it's time to get this water that I have and add some ammonia to it. So we're going to be cleaning the floors with ammonia and water. Just like my dear mother used to do. Got all the lights on. Alright. Here we go with the ammonia. I guess we'll start down here. I'm kind of planning to skip the laundry room. We haven't swept or vacuumed in there. These are my microfiber cloths that I have that I'll be using to wipe out the ammonia water combination. Okay, so I'm going to put these in my pocket here. Okay, I kind of need another thing to put these in when I'm done, when it's all full of water. Let me see what I can find. I made this. Okay. You got this room. I can't see. My bad. I'm going to put this on to this, like so. Okay. I'll put that one in there because it's done. Full of water. Get another one of these. Put it on here. Like so. Okay. A little dry spot there. Okay. It's time to take out this sweatshirt and have a cigarette. Bye now, Sage. Have a pleasant day. You are loved. Oh, you're right, Winston. Mom, I should have done that. That is really smart. I never thought of that. Let's give it a shot. Oh, yeah. It's going to work great. But I'm going to take this off, actually. Getting hot working, you know. We get to see some midriff. Lucky you. Well, let's go have a cigarette. It's almost 7, quarter to 7. Let's leave here at about 8. I'd like to take a shower before I leave here. So, you know, I got another 45 minutes to work on chores, floors, doors, and bores. Ooh, it's nice out. I didn't get it lighter. What a big dummy I am. Hold on a second. smells wonderful and feels wonderful. It's a lovely morning. Absolutely gorgeous. I need to get up there and do that shit too. I gotta go up on the roof and clean my storm drains. Trying to think of how I can throw it down to the ground. The most efficient way is going to be just throw it down to the ground and sweep up all around the house. Then I'm going to throw it into a trash can. It's going to be less efficient that way. Air conditioning is coming on. Guess I warmed up the house with all my activity. It's got to be about the same temperature the air conditioning is set to outside, about 68 probably. I could look at the computer and see. I really had this like pit in my stomach about spending $4,500, but you know, it's a lifetime investment in my mouth. Once I get all the work done, the rest of my life is return on investment. So, just my general, I guess, like uncertain relationship with extroverted sensing. Because spending money is definitely an example of extroverted sensing. You've got good extroverted sensing at a high value. You're probably pretty smart about what you spend money on. You know when something, when you need to buy or want to buy something, you just buy it probably if you get good SE and you got the money for it. Unlike me, I hum and haw and pussyfoot around until finally I ended up buying it, but I might have well bought it earlier and would have solved the problem that I had earlier or something like that, you know. I did buy a new circular saw. It's less than $100, not too bad. Craftsman. Because I could not get the blade off my old circular saw. I was turning it the wrong way, just getting it tighter and tighter, I guess. Turned out on the circular saw, it was lefty tighty, righty loosey. So, I learned a valuable lesson that day, didn't I? I did. A lesson I'll never forget. Probably I'll never forget that lesson. The next time I gotta change a circular saw blade, I'll check online to see if it's righty tighty or lefty tighty. They counter screw those things so that the spinning of the blade makes it get tighter, not looser. I'm not sure they all do that. I guess it would depend on the mechanism by which the blade is attached. There's got to be better mechanisms than a bolt and washer setup, you know? Like, I, I prefer the setup on the circular saw, which has one of those long flat metal things with two prongs on it that you use to you lock it and then you loosen and tighten with that. That's much better. Yes, it requires an extra piece of equipment, but you can build the tool so that that piece of equipment fits right into it, you know, and it stays with the tool easily enough. Okay, well, I've had my cigarette. I guess it's time to do a little bit more flooring. I think I'm going to end this stream, and I'll maybe stream again later. Maybe not. I'm going to have dental surgery today, so I may be out for the count. Anyway, thanks a lot for being here. See you later.